All right, friends, we're gonna do a little bit of a different style of video today. I'm gonna show you an example of what I eat in a day. And this is what I eat in a day when I'm trying to cut. So I'm trying to cut weight, a little bit of the extra lbs that you pack on during the holiday season. This is what I do when I need to drop 5-10 pounds, whatever it is that I gained during that holiday season. So let me talk to you about it really quick and then we'll just get into it and show you how it works. I think forever ago when I very first found this, it was called If It Fits Your Macros. Basically what you do is you go online and there's a whole calculator thing that you use and you put in your weight, your BMI, all that kind of stuff, and how much protein, carbohydrates, and fat you should be consuming within a day to make sure that you're dropping weight. And a lot of women especially, we definitely don't get enough protein and we're probably eating more fat than what we need. So that is why I track it, because I know it can be easy to get off track if I'm not keeping a record of what I'm eating during the day. I do use an app in my phone called MyFitnessPal, and that's where I just go in and track everything and make sure I'm staying within those numbers. That's kind of a quick overview of what it is that I do. And every time I track, I drop weight every single time. And so I know that it works for me. I do not completely cut out any food group. So for me, it is not about going keto or not eating any carbohydrates or not eating any fat. For me, it is balancing out all of those in the appropriate ratios. I'll leave a link in the description box so you can figure out what your ratios and your numbers should be if you're at all interested in this. But honestly, and I'm not a medical professional, so take this at face value, but I have typically found that if I increase protein count, I will drop weight regardless, even if I don't pay attention to the other numbers. But when I really want to focus, I track my food. So hopefully that helps a little bit with a quick overview. You can approach this macros counting type of diet in so many different ways. In the past, I would say that I ate whatever I needed to eat, regardless of the ingredients in the product, to hit those numbers exactly. 10 years later now, we are focused more as a family on whole, pure, good, clean ingredients. So if I don't hit the number exactly, but I know that I ate really good, whole, clean foods that day, that's more important to me than hitting the number exactly. I am gonna start out by showing you the coffee that I make in the morning. This is something I have every single morning. One thing that I have done for years is put collagen in my coffee because it adds protein, which is hard to do. It's hard to get that protein count in when you're counting macros. And B, if you get a really good quality collagen, it's gonna help with your skin, your hair, your nails, your joints, your digestion, all the things. This is the one that I am currently using. This is the Great Lakes Wellness Collagen. Each scoop is 10 grams of protein. The serving size is 2 scoops, but I just do 1 scoop in my coffee. So I'm getting 10 grams of protein in my coffee every single morning. I have tried many different collagens. This is the one that I have repurchased several times now. It is a great quality product. So I'm really liking this one. It dissolves. It's unflavored. You cannot taste it. You cannot see it. It doesn't have a gritty texture, nothing like that. So I did want to mention that. So let me show you how I make my morning coffee. And then I have a tendency to get into rhythms where I eat the same thing for a good amount of time, especially for breakfast. So I'm going to show you the breakfast that I made for me and my friends when we went to Hilton Head, because this is what I eat for breakfast every day. So rather than just cook it here for myself, you get to see it with a little bit more fun and entertainment while I was away in Hilton Head with my closest friends. I'm gonna start off my morning with about 5 ounces of coffee. I have 1 scoop of that collagen in here and 1 teaspoon of sugar. And then I add about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half, sometimes 2 teaspoons of the Organic Valley half and half. It is the grass milk creamer, or grass milk half and half. Now this is what I normally have, but what I'm gonna show you right now is what I'm having while we're away. Good morning. So the other girls aren't awake yet. It is, I think I woke up at like 7:15. You know how you go on the first night of a trip and you just don't sleep well? That was me last night. Also, we did not bring any sugar. We brought coffee and I brought milk, but forgot sugar. So fortunately, I had little matcha, the PIQUE matcha packets in my backpack. So I just made myself a matcha really quick. So that's what I'm gonna drink this morning. I walked into Harris Teeter, so you guys saw a little bit ago when I was sitting over here before the other girls woke up, I made myself a matcha for breakfast because we didn't have sugar. Well, then Mandy and I decided to run to Harris Teeter in pajamas, and I picked up sugar. But when I walked in the door, there was a hot bar, and all I could smell was bacon. So I needed breakfast. So I went and got everything that we need for breakfast. You guys saw, I just took that out of the bag from Harris Teeter. Now we're gonna make breakfast. So I've got some chicken sausage here. If I go to Harris Teeter, this is typically the one that I get. So mainly we started using this, you guys know, because of my son, and this is the kind that he can have. There's no antibiotics and there's also no nitrates or nitrites. So that's why we started using this one. If I go to Whole Foods has their own brand, the 365 brand, which is the same thing as this, but it's like $2 or $3 cheaper than this one. So it really just depends on the store. But I'm gonna make up some of these. You can heat them in the microwave, but I always just heat them in a pan. And then I was just telling Jess, the way that we always make our eggs is we scramble eggs with cottage cheese in them. That's our cheese version. And you gotta have good culture. We've talked about this here before. You gotta have good culture. If you're not making literally anything, if you're not using good culture, you're missing out. Okay, so let's start with the chicken sausage, which Jess is super excited about chicken sausage, everyone.
I love chicken sausage.
You know, whenever we come to an Airbnb though, I really miss all of my pots and pans.
Yeah,
like it really makes me miss them. Okay, I'm just gonna cook half of these. So we'll do half today and half tomorrow. Or unless we go out tomorrow, which is also fine. So things that we bring from home, or at least I do, I always have a little like travel size olive oil because that just makes it so easy. All right, let's add a little oil here. All that you see in my camera is Whitney's face. You see chicken sausage and Whitney.
I mean, she's the queen.
She is the queen.
I'm very excited about this. I'm sad that Jessica won't eat this.
Yeah, we love this one. That and the 365 brand. All right, because these are not my normal pans, normally I actually don't put anything into the pan when I'm making eggs, but we're gonna put a little bit of oil in that for the eggs. Yeah, y'all know I couldn't go somewhere without making sourdough.
My girl made us some homemade sourdough. I about to slap some butter on that.
Do we have butter?
I brought a little bit of butter.
I love it.
Of course you did. Do you know who I am?
I don't have my mic on, but I think it'll be fine. I didn't want it to be.
All right, you gotta add cottage cheese. This is how I do it. This is not how my husband does it. He mixes them separately, like in a container, but I just put everything in the pan.
Okay. When you just put the chicken on this pan, I was like, what is she doing? I always thought you would just like mix it in a bowl with your eggs and then pour them in.
That's how Styles does it.
Okay, so how?
I just mix it all right here in the pan.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I know I'm gonna get comments, because I do, that I should be mixing them in a bowl. And y'all have told me your horror stories. You know, you've probably heard the horror stories.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't had one yet, so.
Girl.
Okay, Mandy.
Welcome to your 40s.
All the vitamins.
And you like yours hard scrambled, but you like yours soft. I'm like soft scrambled, so I'll take some out once it's soft scrambled. See, there's a whole, you gotta make eggs for everybody, apparently.
Look, the fact that you knew this about me, I'm just so proud.
I know what my friends like. All right, breakfast is served. We don't play, y'all. Eggs, cottage cheese, got our sausages, and then sourdough with we're doing the apple chutney.
Yep, apple cranberry.
Apple
chutney.
cranberry chutney. There's a couple things to note about today's lunch. Now, sometimes I prep our lunches ahead of time, and I've got it ready for like the next 3 to 4 days, depending on how many people are eating it. The one I'm gonna show you today is the one where when we need a quick lunch, this is what we go for. It is so easy and everyone in the family loves it, which makes it even better. So like today, for instance, the kids have piano, so we're gonna be leaving our house shortly to go do that. So I wanna throw together a quick lunch, but that also fits the macros that I personally need to eat. So I need heavy protein, all the kinds of things, right? So let me show you what we're gonna do. I have talked about these right here in a video before. I actually have an entire video dedicated to things you can make with chicken, frozen chicken tenders. This is the best one we've ever found. It is delicious. They're always good. I mean, every single time. And if you make them in the air fryer, they're so easy to make. So we're gonna make buffalo chicken wraps with this right here. Just got a new bag last night. So let's open up. Normally when I make this, I make it for 4, but today my husband went into the office to work, so it's just me and both of the kids. So I'm making enough for all 3 of us. These are great because for 2 pieces, you get 6 grams of fat, 11 carbohydrates, and 17 grams of protein. So I usually try and eat 2 pieces, even though it makes the wrap really full. Sometimes I'll put a little bit on the side, but I wanna make sure that I get at least that 17 grams of protein, and then I add some other stuff too. Okay, so we are going to use the air fryer. And since we have 3 of us eating this, typically I would make 6 tenders. This time I'm gonna make, let's go with 5. And then we'll just kind of eat whatever is left. So I'll usually pop these in the air fryer at 400 for around 11 to 12 minutes, and then they're ready to go. Now, while that is working, I'm gonna get our plates set up. I know, I got different wraps this time. The family keeps pointing it out that I got wraps that are a different brand than what we normally get, but I think they're good. Do you not like them?
I haven't tried them.
Oh, okay.
Plus, they look too small.
They are smaller, so we eat them more like tacos. Normally we get a little bit of a larger size, so it ends up being more like a wrap. These we end up folding and they're more like taco, but you can make them however you want. It's no big deal. Okay, I haven't washed this fruit that we got last night yet, so I need to do that really quick too.
Wait, they don't usually put fruit in all buffalo chicken wraps.
On the side, bro, on the side. Okay, so we like to have fruit with almost every lunch. We do our best to eat fruit. And as a matter of fact, y'all, last night we went to Sam's Club and they had pineapples for $2.87. Why I only got one of them, I'm still trying to figure out. I should have gotten like multiples and then chopped it up and froze it myself, because that is crazy cheap for a pineapple, at least in our area it is. So I have 2 here. One I had already purchased with our grocery order this week, but $2.87. Like, I'm probably gonna go back out there and get some more. So I always like to have fruit. We've got some blueberries in there too, but I'm thinking I'm gonna use the blueberries to make scones, so I don't wanna use them completely. Now for me, I am going to have cottage cheese on the side with mine. The kids usually will just have the wrap and fruit on the side, but because I need to increase my protein count right now, I'm gonna have cottage cheese. All right, so we're doing a low-fat cottage cheese, and I am going to do the serving size, which is a 1/2 cup, which is actually probably right about what we have left in this container. I've got 2 more in the fridge, don't you worry. Cottage cheese for me is a great option. Greek yogurt is a great option. That's something that I do a lot of times for an afternoon snack, is like a little yogurt bowl with some granola and fruit. So with the low fat, this is the best. Good culture, you gotta have good culture. A 1/2 cup is 2.5 grams of fat, 3 grams of carbs, and 14 grams of protein. So that's good. And I'm gonna put my fruit in the cottage cheese. Okay, so just a couple strawberries here. We'll probably do 2. All right, now in another video that I'm gonna be filming today, actually, I will show you another lunch that is a really great, so good. I mean, it's just you guys know, I like to show you different things here all the time. But another lunch that I like to eat, because it's kind of bowl style, so you can pick what works for you. for that day. Actually, let's do a half a banana on these for the kids as well.
Wait, what?
Do banana. For me, I'm not gonna do that because I got my cottage cheese and my fruit here. All right, so while that's cooking, that's pretty much it for right now. Like I said, this is a very quick lunch option that I can throw together in minutes. All right, chicken is done. It is super hot, so I wanna be careful. You are not supposed to be in here. Thank you. Now, this is how I do it. My husband makes these a little bit different. He actually just cuts up the chicken and then pours the sauce all over each one. But I personally like to cut it up into little pieces. I mean, you go with how much time you have, right? If you don't have kitchen shears, y'all know, I mean, I'm using them all the time instead of a knife. I love it.
Are those the kitchen shears?
Kitchen scissors. Shear is another word for scissor.
Oh.
So I do that. Okay, now we've got the Primal Kitchen original buffalo sauce with avocado oil. Love this. We all love it, actually. It has 2 grams of fat, 1 carb, and no protein for 1 tablespoon. So I usually use about 2 tablespoons for the entire portion of what we're eating. Okay, so pour over and mix that together. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how I make the kids first, and then I'll show you how I make mine. I do change it up a little bit because I know already what I've eaten for breakfast and also what we're gonna have for dinner. And I know that our dinner is actually a little heavier on fat tonight because it's got coconut milk in it and it's a full fat coconut milk. So because of that, I am not gonna put cheese or ranch dressing on mine. But if you have that available, if you've got the fat grams available, go for it. So for the kids, or if it was on a day when I had maybe more fat grams available, put a little bit of cheese here at the bottom, which you could use a low-fat cheese, which I want you to hear me that this is not a low-fat diet. It's more what is available in those macronutrients that I have every single day or that I try to stick to. And that's what works for me. This is what's been working for me for a long time. Okay, you put some of that chicken on. So we load it up with the chicken. You gotta have the protein. For the kids, we do, okay, that's coming out really fast. We do some ranch dressing. So there we go. You just kind of fold it up and you got your wrap. And if you have bigger wraps, then you have an actual wrap. Okay, let me make this one. Okay, now for me, I'm gonna take a bite because it's not all gonna fit on there. Oh, we'll fit it on there. It'll be nice and full. If you wanna take, come on, the smallest amount of ranch, I mean, that's a half a teaspoon. That's not gonna hurt you, right? Put a little bit on there just for that ranch flavor. And then there you have it, super quick lunch. We've got the wrap like so. I've got my cottage cheese and my strawberries. I'll definitely have a snack in a little bit and I'll show that to you as well. I just plugged everything into my phone and I wanna share it with you. So I aim for 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. That's typically what I'm looking for. So this has 33 grams of protein. We've got 34 carbohydrates, was actually a little bit low for me. So I might try and find another carb to add in, maybe just a little bit more fruit or something. And then 12 grams of fat. So it's pretty good. All of this, all in all, I've got some really good stuff here. All right, let me show you my quick and easy snack for this afternoon. I homemade some hummus the other day. I like to keep mine high in protein and really low in fat. I know that seems like this is kind of the theme of this video, but I promise it's not. It's really just based on the amount of fat grams that I have available today. This is just a base recipe for hummus, which I do believe is gonna be in another video coming up really soon. So stay tuned for that, but you can add your Kalamata olives or it's like roasted red pepper, things like that. And then we always, I need to paint my nails, have carrot sticks just available and ready. And then I do think that I'm gonna meet my protein count for the day, but I'm a little lower on my carbs than I normally am, and carrots don't have a ton of carbs. So when I need carbs, I will typically go for some dates. We almost always have dates in our pantry, and then we also have figs back there as well. So it's kind of like, I really like dates because it makes you feel like you're having a sweet treat. because they're a little sweeter. So yeah, we always have those available. So I'm just gonna make up some carrots and hummus for an afternoon snack. All right, this is another thing I almost always have in the afternoons. So this is 2 ounces of espresso and there's 1 teaspoon of sugar. I add some whole milk to that, about maybe 3/4 of a cup, and then I'll add ice to it, and that's my afternoon iced latte. So I do get a decent amount of fat grams that comes from that, but it's just not something that I'm willing to give up. So I'll sacrifice those fat grams somewhere else in the day. So 9 grams of fat, which is a little high, but you also get 8 grams of protein and 12 carbs. So that's gonna help me meet that carb goal and the protein goal as well. But you could obviously opt for not a whole milk, a 1% or 2%, or even a, what's it called, skim. And then sometimes I think you guys saw it actually at the beginning of the video, sometimes I will do, this is more like an early morning tea for me. Sometimes I will do this matcha right here, which I've talked about it before here. I will put one of these packets in a cup like this with some milk and make a matcha latte if I'm just feeling matcha instead of coffee. So that is my little, all the things. I'm pretty sure I told you earlier today that we were gonna have a curry for dinner tonight. I ended up changing my mind. So let me explain what happened. I actually have a little board over here on my fridge where I write everything that we're having for the week and it's listed out by day. But I don't always stick to the day. Sometimes I will change it up. We end up usually having those foods throughout the week, but it might not be on the day that it's scheduled for. I do try and stick to it for the most part, but on a day like today, so I was looking at everything and thinking about, there were 3 options of what we could have today, and I just felt like this one is the best for tonight, according to what I've already eaten today. So we are going to make a casserole tonight. It is a chicken tzatziki type of casserole. It's gonna be really good. So the first thing we need to do is get the chicken marinating. I've got 2 chicken breasts here in this package. We are gonna cut these up into bite-sized pieces. Oh, I was worried my knife that I love was dirty. Also, do not let all of this over here alarm you, okay? You can add as many or as few flavors, spices, ingredients as you like. We like lots of flavor, so I will pull out all the things. We had a comment the other day about some ingredients that we used that were pretty expensive, and a lot of you actually answered the person, and said how often I come on here and say, if you can't find it in your area, can't afford it in your area, if you don't have it in your area, whatever, you can change it up and make any recipe really into something that works better for your family. Y'all, I used to love and watch all the time Sandra's Money Saving Meals on the Food Network. Still such a great show. Still to this day, I use things that I learned from her using different ingredients. So anytime you see me using something, if I use an organic chicken sausage, for instance, and that is just not either in your budget or maybe you just don't like chicken sausage. My friend Jess does not like chicken sausage at all. Change it up. Do the exact same thing with pork sausage. Or if there's a turkey sausage that's buy one, get one free at your grocery store that week, absolutely use that instead. You can change up almost anything in a recipe and make it work for your family. So don't be afraid to take something that I make and just rearrange things a little bit or add something or take away something that works for you. Yes, we have had to make some adjustments in the things that we buy for our family and what works for my son. But honestly, we are happy with the adjustments that we've made for us too, and we feel extremely healthy. I feel the best I've ever felt in my life, honestly. But again, I say all that to just say, do what works for you. Just because I use a certain ingredient does not mean that you have to. I would highly suggest you do not skip this step in the process. This is gonna help to marinate the chicken and really bring out those good flavors, okay? I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to the chicken here. About 2 tablespoons. Let's do a tablespoon of olive oil. We don't need too much. This is avocado oil. I don't know, I always say olive oil because it's just like, that's what's been there for so long. And we switched to avocado oil about a year ago and it's It's always olive oil in that for some reason, but it's not. On this next part, I am using fresh parsley, oregano, and thyme, but it's because I have it on my garden. So you do not have to do that. You can absolutely just use the dried versions. So don't feel like you need to go and buy all of these fresh herbs. Completely fine to use the dried versions. You guys know like 90% of the reason why I even have an indoor garden is because I like all the fresh herbs. That's what we use it for. So obviously, if I'm able to use that in a recipe, that's what I'm gonna go for. The recipe that I'm basing this off of says a tablespoon of fresh parsley, but y'all, we like to be excessive, okay? Chop this. You could use the herb scissors if you happen to have those. My son is upstairs and it sounds like he is using his bedroom floor as a trampoline. For goodness sakes, it's so loud. This is one thing for me when I am being really cautious about what I'm eating, or I'm tracking. I'm not saying I'm being super cautious. When I'm tracking and I'm putting a little more effort into being really careful as to what I'm eating, the more herbs and things that you can add to a meal, the better. It's gonna make those maybe more clean ingredients, which have great flavor, but less sodium and things. It's gonna just really enhance those. Okay, so this is obviously a lot more than a tablespoon, but we're going with it. It's gonna happen, all of it. That's like a 4th cup. But you guys know, this is how we operate here. All right, with the thyme, I'm really not worried about chopping it. I'm just gonna put it right in there after I take it off the stem. Thyme is so good. It's probably my favorite. And then I've got oregano here, also fresh. Again, please do not feel like you have to use fresh oregano. You can just use the dried version. But since I had it on the garden, that's what we're gonna go with. Today I pulled apart 2 rotisserie chickens, like took all the meat off of 2 rotisserie chickens. So I've got some broth cooking back there in the Instant Pot. And then tomorrow I'm actually gonna be filming a video. I'll show you all me packing how we package the bone broth for future use. I love using a rotisserie chicken because it just makes certain nights so easy. And really, I was thinking tonight I might make enchiladas, but and that's what the meat off of the chicken was for, but then we'll use it tomorrow. I just changed it up a bit. Oregano also going in. So we got lots of herbs in there. Easy. I know it seems like a lot. Don't let it stress you out. It's just adding the beautiful greenery, okay? Let's add a teaspoon-ish of smoked paprika, half of a teaspoon of cumin. This is all just adding flavor. Any of these flavors that you don't like, just pass on it. Half of a teaspoon of onion powder. Let me go a little heavier on that one. Half of a teaspoon of garlic powder. 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. And about an 1/8 teaspoon, so really just a pinch of cayenne pepper. Okay, that's gonna add your heat. If you don't like heat, skip that part. I am gonna add some salt. Let's go with about a 1/2 teaspoon. And we just mix all this together, get all those flavors together. Look at how beautiful and vibrant this is going to be. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I love these flavors anyway, so it's perfect. The goal here is to let the chicken just kind of marinate for 30 minutes or so. So I'm just gonna put a cover on this and set it to the side while I get some other things done. This recipe doesn't call for you to make tzatziki, however you say it. It doesn't call for you to make it, but I do think that it would be really good with it, so I am gonna make it. Okay, let's go ahead and prep everything that we need for the tzatziki. And I also need to shred up some zucchini anyway, so that'll be perfect. And the zucchini is gonna be like the bigger shred. Shred this up. And I've got 2 of them here. That's a good amount. We'll just set that to the side. We do need that for the recipe. Even if you're not gonna make the tzatziki, you still need that. Okay, let me switch because I need my smaller one now for the cucumber. And that is going to go in the tzatziki. I don't think I'm gonna use this whole cucumber because I think I need it for a different recipe. Oh no, I was actually gonna make tzatziki for another recipe, so this is perfect. Okay, cool. So we're gonna make a nice big batch of it. Peeled it for me. Now, one thing that is really important here is to get the extra moisture out of the cucumbers if you plan on storing it. If you're gonna use it right away and you don't really need it for the next several days, it's probably okay, but I like to get the extra moisture out. I love having this on hand for really a lot of different reasons, but if you like a sauce, the way that I make it, it's really low in fat and it adds great flavor to stuff. So I suggest if you like saucy things, this is a good one to have on hand. Okay, so I'm just going to put it in here and just press. This one's not very watery, which is nice. We just press the water out. Just to grab on to any extra moisture, I like to take a paper towel and press that in as well. Might be excessive, but you know, it is what it is. The next thing I like to put in here is dill, and if I had fresh dill, 100% that's what I would go for. I do not right now. Well, I have a tiny little bit, but it's not gonna be enough for this because I just started dill again. So for this, we're gonna use the dried dill, and I'm going with, I go heavy-handed on the dill, y'all, like really heavy-handed. It's probably like a tablespoon, honestly. I also personally like to add a pinch of salt to mine. That's preference. I don't think that that's traditional. And for me, again, not traditional, but I like to add a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder. Maybe a half teaspoon or so. I mean, depending on how much cucumber you're using, right? Oh, we are almost out of garlic powder. I did not know that. You gotta have about a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I'm gonna pour that in. Most people add avocado oil or olive oil into theirs. I'm gonna go with about a teaspoon. You can go up to a tablespoon, honestly, or even more, but I like to go less on that because of the fat content. So just a little bit there. This is another non-traditional ingredient that I feel like you just can't skip because it's so good. Red wine vinegar, you have to put some in there. I'm telling you, it takes it over the top. I do at least a tablespoon, but I probably go closer to 2 tablespoons because I like it so much. And then this is your protein right here. This is what makes this sauce over the top good if you need more protein in your diet. This is non-fat Greek yogurt. 3/4 of a cup has 17 grams of protein. And we're probably gonna use, for this amount, let's start with 1.5 cups, which would actually be 34 grams of protein. Stir all that together and see where we are. We might even need more Greek yogurt. But y'all, I'm telling you, we will fly through some tzatziki sauce. All right, let's see how this tastes. I need little tasting spoons. That's what I need to order. That would be super cute. I don't need that much. It needs a little bit more salt and a little bit more red wine vinegar. And actually maybe even a little bit more lemon juice. Let's do a little more. I like mine more on the acidic side, so you do what you like. Okay, let's mix that together. Then we can put a lid on and just store this in the refrigerator until we're ready to use it. Y'all, it is freezing here. I mean, I know there's other places that are colder than where I live, but we can't even convince our dog to go outside. She has no desire. She looks at the back door, so I go over and open it for her. Doesn't care, doesn't want to be out there in this. Let me clean all of this stuff up and we can start assembling the casserole. Pretty much the rest of the recipe is incredibly easy and all this is done being used. Now for dinner tonight, I am using brown rice instead of white rice, just because the fiber content is a little more. White rice is 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of liquid. The brown rice is 1 cup of rice to 2.5 cups of liquid. So I'm gonna do 1 cup of rice here. And I didn't rinse this, but I normally do rinse rice. Okay. Back in. We're using bone broth. And I'm just gonna use this one because it's already out. And I'm gonna need more. I always have these cartons on backup for when, like right now, there's still an hour before that bone broth is done. So this is perfect to have ready and available. Okay, 2 and about a half. 2.5 cups. Also the zucchini. Just gonna give this kind of like a little mix here. Lay or just kind of start to spread out the chicken all over this dish. And honestly, there's some really good flavor at the bottom of this bowl because that's where the lemon juice has kind of like dripped down to. So we're not gonna let that flavor go to waste either. Okay, that looks pretty good. Just wanna make sure it's like evenly on there. You could mix all this together and just pour it in there, but you know. I'm gonna cover this and we're gonna bake on 375 for about 40 minutes. I will check and make sure that the rice is completely done at that 40-minute mark because it's brown rice. It may take a little bit longer, so we'll check it. We'll just do like a little taste test and make sure it's good to go. All right, so this is the chicken, tzatziki, and rice. We're using brown rice tonight. There's some zucchini in there, marinated chicken. I made some tzatziki sauce for the side. So there's no cheese, there's no dairy, nothing like that in this tonight. This is great for a family.
There's no dairy in that?
Oh, well, it's Greek yogurt,
yeah.
but I mean like in the actual casserole. So for somebody who's gluten-free, dairy-free, all the free things, this is a great option. Also, I wanted to let you know, because I'm talking about macros today and increasing our protein count per serving, this is, what did I say? 41 carbohydrates, 29 grams of protein, and 11 grams of fat. So pretty low in the fat per serving, and that doesn't even include the tzatziki, which adds more protein to the whole thing.
How do you measure a serving and something like that? Is it a food scale or just kind of like in a typical bowl?
If you really want to be precise, the food scale is the way to go.
Yeah.
But casserole is supposed to serve 4. I think it actually serves 6, not 4, just depending on how much you're gonna eat. But yeah, that's kind of, this one is more of an estimate, yeah.
You can't go wrong with tzatziki.
No. There's a lot of flavor here. I want to taste just the rice.
What was this? Zucchini?
It's very herby. It doesn't lack flavor at all.
No.
It tastes really good. I mean, this is a good quality, healthy meal.
Yes.
That anybody can make, truly. I think this is stuff that most people probably have in their pantry as far as spices and herbs and things go.
It's a healthy meal that if you're trying to cut back or something, you don't dread it. You're like,
Right.
Oh man, I'm having this one tonight. That's gonna be good.
Speaking of that, we did Whole30 a couple of years ago. In January. It was January, what was it, like maybe 3 years ago? I was miserable. It was brutal. I'm sure that you can do it without being miserable, but there were so many things that we had to cut out that we enjoy. We enjoy good quality dairy, and you can't have dairy on Whole30. That was probably the biggest thing for us.
I'm smiling because you were miserable. It wasn't too bad for me, but at the very end, she told me, like, you ate things you weren't supposed to.
Right.
And I didn't know.
I let it go.
I would have those fruit smoothies that had a ton of sugar in it.
Yeah.
I would have nuts. I don't think you're supposed to have that.
Yeah, there's a lot he did. And part of the reason it was so frustrating is because he dropped like 24 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
3. 30 days, no dairy, no sugar, barely any carbohydrates. And I was like, this is not for me.
There you go. To all the men out there. Whole30 is where it's at.
It was not for me. Okay, so counting macros just works for me each time. It really does. He sees if I track my food, I do so much better and my weight maintains so much better. But yeah, this is a great option for dinner, y'all. Our verse today comes from Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I really liked filming what I eat in a day and sharing that with you all. If you'd like to see more content like this, let me know in the comments, because I just think this was really fun to walk through an entire day with you and kind of share what I'm doing. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love if you would subscribe and stick around. I hope you're having a great week. See you in the next one.